Hello, and welcome back to another live stream. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. And finally, international break is over. We don't have to put up with all the nonsense that's been going on the past 2 weeks. But before we get into all of that, bit of housekeeping. Make sure to like the video as you're coming through because it's really important. And subscribe to the channel if you are new. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and the journey starts here. And the social medias is GVO Mikes at Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. So if you want to follow me there, go and follow me there if you haven't already. And yeah, finally, another match preview. Big up to the guys that are already here. Obviously, Jojo, you said something earlier. Big up Mikes, let's get the likes up, people. Mod me, bro. Do you know what I'm going to do, guys? I'm going to mod all the regulars because I don't know anyone wanted to be modded, and I didn't think my channel was big enough for that. But I am going to start modding some people. If you want to be modded, just let me know. Big up to FIFAzilla as always. Evening to yourself. Hope you're doing well. And big up to Jonathan. And big up to David as well. Hope you're all doing well. As Jojo, you wanted to be a mod. I will add you as a mod. You are the first mod of the YouTube channel. But yeah, Fulham, West Ham United. Big up to everyone that also came from Arrest's YouTube channel as well. FIFAzilla, I will add you as a mod now, mate. Give me a second. I've already just figured out how to do this. So, yeah, cool. You're a managing moderator now, whatever the fuck that means. But yeah, this is going to be a hard game, people. Obviously, we're going to go through probably the press conference first. We'll get your thoughts. Put your thoughts on the game in the comments below. And anything you want to say, just put it in the comments. Go through FPL as we always do as well with the league, with everyone that's in the league. Go through the thoughts of the game. We'll just chat a bag of shit as we always do it each week. But yeah, obviously Lopetegui had his press conference today. Started with team news, waiting for the last few players to come back from international duty. Until this afternoon, we haven't had a full squad. Yeah, that's the problem with international duty, and everyone has the same problem, unfortunately. We're trying to evaluate everything physically and mentally. Both things are important. We'll know more later today. Lopetegui is asked about Fullkrug. Bit of a problem, which is a pity, but we'll see later today. I think tomorrow we'll take the final decision about him, which means, guys, that the injury isn't that bad as it was being made out to be. And there's rumours about him coming back to Chelsea, but that was also reported by West Ham Football. So take that with a pinch of salt as it is. But honestly, I just want to see Fullkrug start up front. So that's the main thing for me. Don't get me wrong, Antonio was terrible against Manchester City, but in the first two games he weren't great. Big up to Fuego, big up to Czech. Hope you're doing well, guys, as well. But yeah, we're just reading through Lopetegui's press conference right now. Asked about Carlos Soler, great player, can help us in different positions. He's experienced despite still being a young player. He's like 24, 25, I think. He's kind of young, I guess. We've worked with him for the last 2 weeks, and for sure he's going to help us in the rest of the campaign. It's going to be interesting to see if he starts in midfield straight away or if he's going to be eased in as a bench player. I think he'll be eased in as a bench player. And the question is on the transfer window. We did everything to improve the squad. We lost some players, but we signed some as well. We are now focused on working every day and on the players we have now. What I will say about the manager is that you can't really complain about the transfer window. So I know he didn't, but I'm just saying, like, in general, you've got the players. It's going to take a while. And with context, this is going to take time anyway. So I'm going to allow you to have that time if you could give me a chance to give you a chance. I think if we play the way we did against Manchester City, we'll do well this game. I think our defense is actually quite organised when playing the right players. I just think we need to finish our chances. And I actually believe more you would go into it before the transfer window, before the season started, of believing our attack more than our defence. But we started some really good additions to the defence. We look very defensively organised, even playing higher up the pitch, which is a good thing. But yeah, hoping Summerville starts. So do I, mate. That's why I put 3 Summerville in the title, and I'll come on to Summerville in a sec. I want to see Soler and Summerville start. Yep, for sure. If Soler is match fit, I'd say start him, in my opinion. Yeah, Soler or Suchek will start next time. Yeah, I know we're going to disagree on that, but big up to yourself as always with Suchek. Agreed, David, but Soler will probably start on the bench. I think Suchek will start, as much as I don't want him to start, but it is what it is. Lopetegui's asked about targets. We have a lot of work to do We want one strong team with a collective feeling. It's not about one or two signings, it's about the group and the feeling. Didn't answer the question at all. Fair enough. The boss has asked about Fulham. There are a lot of teams in London, and we're playing a lot in London at the moment. This is where we're starting to kick into the schedule where we actually don't stop finishing playing in London until November, October, like late October, November-ish. I think after the next international break is when we start playing outside of London. Obviously excluding the likes of the Carabao Cup, like with Liverpool and stuff. But we've got Brentford away, we've got Ipswich at home, Chelsea at home. So a lot of it is London, which I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I don't really care. And the next question is about his international break. I was out of London at a wedding in Somerset. Good for you. Lopetegui has asked about Alphonse Areola. He's okay. He's recovered well. Good to know. Good to know. He had a bit of a back injury. I didn't really notice the fact that he had an injury, but obviously he came off at halftime against Manchester City. The boss has asked about his squad adapting to his methods. It's a process, and we've had 10 days here to work with the players. Unfortunately, a lot of them weren't here, so it's not easy, but we've done what we could. It's a quick turnaround. Now to Fulham, but we're putting all our focus onto the next match. Yeah, obviously, yeah, I want to see Tadibo give it another go, but Tadibo's only just got here, so I want to see him give it a go full stop, to be honest. That's my thing with it, because he's just got here. I don't think Mavropanos has been terrible, but going from the Manchester City game, start Tadibo, in my opinion. I know Mavropanos played well against Crystal Palace, but Tadibo's also had a chance to work in the background during the international break with the squad, so the defenders can get used to each other. The likes of Kilman, Tadibo, Wan-Bissaka playing together with Emerson at left back. So that's the back four we obviously need to play. So like we need to start that now. We need to just start playing our best players. There's no more excuse about, but this player hasn't had this many minutes and this many minutes. Pre-season's long over. It was long, like a month ago, nearly a month ago since the season started. So let's just get on with it. Next question is about London derbies. There may be more history around certain games, but for me, I'm more worried about playing a team that is strong and balanced. They beat us twice last season, and they have good players, so we need to play well to get the result we want. They played well against us last season because of, or obviously that's the end of the press conference as well, because we were playing a defense of Cresswell, Zuma again, and Sufa, I'm pretty sure, for the first back four. And against them at home, we were terrible. Like pretty much the players ended up giving up anyway. The players gave up at the back end of the season anyway. We kind of knew we was going to lose. I don't know about you guys, but at the back end of that season, I just knew we were going to lose probably the most of the games. I knew we were going to get battered by Chelsea. I knew we'd lose to Fulham at home. I even said we'd lose to Luton. That's the one I got wrong. But with the game at Craven Cottage, like that was just some mad result that they just pounced on us. They targeted that left side of defence with Gerd and Cresswell on the same side. That's awful. But I don't think we won't see anything near that now. I'd like to think. I'd be very worried if we were still getting battered this season. But obviously we'll see. It's going to be a tough game. Don't get me wrong. They've got some good players. They've got the likes of Smith Rowe. They've done a good transfer window. What's it called? Tadibo. Not Tadibo. One of the players they signed, Smith Rowe, Nelson. There's two centre backs, Anderson and Cuenca, whatever his fucking name is. But yeah, they're a good side as well. They lack goals as well. Like they lack goals. They lack clinicality and whatever the right word is. Wan-Bissaka might be our best fullback signing of all time. That's way too early to say that, but right now he's doing very well. The players knew the season was over in May. I think the players knew the season was over long before May. I think they knew it was over. Like I'd say March. So yeah. By the way, there is 10 people in here. Get the likes up. Get 10 likes, please, if we haven't already. And also, if you want to be a mod, just put in a chat, make me a mod, and I'll make you a mod. Because we started making people mod. Yeah, maybe after Leverkusen. We got smacked last December too. Yep. Big up Mike's, love the trim. Big up to yourself, Wasim. I'm glad you noticed. You're the first person to notice that I got a trim. Got a trim yesterday. I know it's not a fade, but like, listen, I just like my hair short, bruv. Now it doesn't look like a mop on my head. Doesn't look like my face is about to overlap my head. Revamp defense and no boys, exactly. So I think it's going to be a whole different, situation that we're really looking at. Yeah, after ping pong scored. Hey, Mikes, keep punching. Big up to yourself, James, bro. Hope you're doing well as well. And listen, Fulham are a very difficult team to really call because like they either approach a game and they can have an absolute masterclass like they did against Tottenham last season, or they can have an absolute disaster class at times. And their defense is quite fragile. I'll say their defense is quite erratic. I don't know if Issa Diop is going to play. Marco Silva has actually avoided playing Issa Diop against us for most part. I don't know if he played in the 5-0, but he's not. I don't think he's played against us yet in the league. Only played against us in that friendly that happened a couple of seasons ago. But a centre back partnership of Diop and Bassi, and I liked Calvin Bassi at the time, but it's a very erratic partnership. I think that can be got at, like no matter who you're playing up front. Um, I also don't believe their midfield is as strong as it used to be in terms of the pivot. I actually like Harrison Reed. I think Harrison Reed's quite underrated, but um, he's not. He's probably not the same player as maybe he was like a couple of years ago. Tom Kearney's still squad player for them. Obviously, they lost Paulinho as well, which is going to be a blow. But they've still got some good players. They can still get you down the flanks. They like using that wide area as well. And listen, they may not have William, but it won't be. And Smith Rowe seem to have a very good partnership. So we've got to watch out for Smith Rowe. But I think if Edson Alvarez plays, I'm not too worried. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say we're going to, what's it called? Wouldn't say like we're going to batter them or anything, or we're going to roll them over or anything. But yeah, you know what I mean. Wouldn't Anderson play for Fulham? Yeah, he will. But I'm just going off the fact that I saw Bassi and Diop play in the last game against Ipswich. But yeah, Anderson will play. I still think he can be got at. But Anderson's a good player. We just got to press him because he's got a good range of passing, and they like to play out from the back quite well. I knew it was over as soon as the Newcastle loss. Harvey Barnes still haunts me. I was the same guy that said, "Get Harvey Barnes," and we missed out on Harvey Barnes, and then he ended up dunking on us because Calvin Phillips is useless. But yeah, 3-1 to 4-3. That like you could watch that match reaction on my channel. I went absolutely crazy, but I think I knew the season was over like before then. I mean, to be fair, I never thought there was going to be a season in the first place, but you know what I mean. We have a really good back four. Yeah, honestly, if we play, our best players in that back four, we need to just get them used to each other, and then we can really see where we are. But we're just quite organized when it comes to defending anyway. I just think Haaland is a bit of a freak, and I think AI has gone too far. So that's my thing with our defense. Like we defend well. Like I think apart from one pass, I think Emerson's done fine. I think Wan-Bissaka's done really well. I think Kilman has done brilliant. Mavropanos, you never know what you're going to get with him. I think you can either get a masterclass or something has gone below. Oh no, what did Aluko say? What did Aluko say, bro? Let me know what she said. Fulham are a good side, good 11, but we have a better squad. So going for the win on Saturday, it depends upon lineup. Yeah, this is the thing as well. What I will say is anything below a win, I'm going to be disappointed naturally. I know a draw isn't the worst result, which is one of the biggest phrases that I hate in football. A draw isn't the worst result. That's not the kind of mentality I'm looking for going into this club. We need 3 points. We need points on the board. We've had our tough start. And listen, there's always going to be tough games. We've got Chelsea at home next. I know we beat Chelsea at home typically, but that's still going to be tough. Then we got Brentford away, and then we got Ipswich at home. Like those are still going to be tough games as well. But you got to prove that if we're really going to be targeting Europe, these are the games you need to win, and prove that you're above the likes of Fulham's that aren't going to be going for Europe, that are just trying to keep afloat and have some stability within the Premier League. When Kudus was at AFCON and Paquetá injured, took all the momentum. Yeah, around that time when we were drawing to Sheffield United and we were blaming the ref for drawing to Sheffield United instead of actually taking any sort of responsibility. She said something like the women's players could give the men's a go in the Prem, and then she said that the Lionesses put the men to shame by winning the Euros. I don't think she knows what the word context means, but God forbid you criticize her because she'll just call you racist and sexist. But yeah, Eddie Aluka, I don't know what she smokes half the time, but listen, women's football has improved over the years, don't get me wrong, and well done to the Lionesses for winning the Euros, but it has nothing to do with each other. If you want women's football to get some respect, you can't constantly be comparing it to men's football. Just my opinion. But women's football is improving, but it's nowhere near what she said. But just in general with this game, guys, my overall confidence on this game is like I'm not usually confident when it comes to any game, but I wasn't confident going up against Crystal Palace, and we won the game against Crystal Palace. We beat them away from home. And if we approach that game like in the second half, the way we played in the second half to this game, I think we'll do fine. For me, as I said on Orest's channel earlier, make sure to go subscribe to Orest as well. it's a matter of whether we score. It's a matter of if we are clinical. Because I would back our defense to defend what we've got against defend what they've got against us. Anything they can test us with, I reckon our defense has got it. It's just a matter of whether we're clinical because we do create chances. It's just whether we can put them away, and that goes for everyone in the front line. Like goes for Kudus, goes for Bowen. Bowen was nullified against City. Kudus hit the post. Like this, and Summerville came on and it got saved onto the post. Antonio as well. He had a couple chances, but everyone in attack needs to finish their chances. Even if you're a midfielder going in advance, you need to finish your chances. It doesn't matter who you are. But with the likes of Wan-Bissaka, Tadibo, hopefully Tadibo plays, Kilman and Emerson, I'd back our defense to play out just fine as well. We're going to get onto the starting 11s a bit later as well. Well, the starting 11 that I'd want to line up and what you guys want to line up and what Lopetegui will line up with. I actually rate women's football. People like her ruining it. Yeah, I agree. I just think it's like you can what's it called? Have a plan. I mean, like you could rate women's football without having to compare it like what we do. Owen, oh Bowen, no, not Bowen. I don't want to play Bowen up front. The reason why I don't want to play Bowen up front, and the reason why I disagree with people that want to play Bowen up front, is because Bowen doesn't have the natural movement as a striker. For me, it's going to be either play Antonio or Fullkrug, because I know Antonio is naturally a striker, but Antonio on the wing in 2024 will disgust me because he's going to have to track back and press from winger positions as well, which is going to tire him out. The guy's 35. Just put him up front. I know he naturally drifts off, but if he does naturally drift off and you know your players well as teammates, then as a midfielder, you should be going into that space as it's not being occupied at that current moment in time. With our striker options, I'm fine with the striker options for now. Just play the strikers there. With Bowen, he's going to drift out to the right. It's not going to solve anything. If people are going to say, what's it called? Don't play Antonio up front because he drifts too far, and then also say, but put Bowen up front, then then your point doesn't make any sense because you're going to have the same exact problems and no solutions are going to be had at that time. Yeah, I know Fullkrug is out for the game. Obviously, Lopetegui said he'll make a decision on him, but I don't think there's any point. If he's got a knock, he might as well not play him for this game, unfortunately, but whatever. Listen, you just got to play a striker up front. God forbid Antonio also gets injured as well. Then you just play Danny Ings up front and Robert just play a striker up front, My thing is that I've said this since Brentford away last year, that it's going to be very hard for Paquetá, Kudus and Bowen to all play together and get the best out of all three. And I'm not going to repeat the same thing now I've repeated on the channel for weeks because, yeah. Kudus up top, Bowen, Summerville wide. I think Kudus and Paquetá would be better than Bowen up front just because they can play the false nine, but I still wouldn't play any of them up front. You know what I mean? Is he going to rest Bowen, Antonio, Paquetá, Mavro? Ings, Soler, Tadibo. I don't think Bowen needs resting. I think we'll get onto the lineups in a minute. But my problem is that I don't know whether this guy is going to rotate. I don't know whether he's going to be stubborn with his choices and already is going to have favourites at the start of him managing a club. I don't know what he's like in terms of that, what he's like changing a squad up and now and then. But I don't know. You reckon Ings is a shout? Feel like Antonio's finished? I don't think Ings is a shout. I'm just saying, I think he's a third choice. I just think if Fullkrug and Antonio are not fit, then you play Ings. I just don't want to play in a winger up front or an attacking midfielder up front. In my opinion, my thing is with Ings, I just don't think he would suit the system either. Like 2 up front is what he suits the most. 2 up front, but we don't play 2 up front. That's the whole reason why the signing was so stupid in the first place, because you signed a guy that didn't suit your system. For me, I don't even think Antonio's finished. I think Antonio could be a bit part player, and most of the time coming off the bench or playing 60 minutes if he's going to start. But it's just very frustrating at the start. We kind of just know what we're going to get with Antonio, but that's the reason why I don't really get frustrated with him. My problem is I just get frustrated at the thought that we haven't finished the chances rather than getting frustrated with the particular person itself. Wouldn't mind Ings, feel like he could have his moment. I don't know. I wouldn't play him, but only if we had to play him, I'd play him. I just, I don't, I'm not even one of the people that uses the goal record against him either, just because I don't think the goal record is necessarily his fault, because if you take them stats into consideration and with context, most of the times there are 20-minute, 10-minute cameos. I think when he played in the number 10 against Sheffield United, it showed that he plays in the two up front, because in the two up front, the number, like, you can have a number 10 because they drift off and one goes ahead. So I think that's where he should play if he's going to play with another striker. But I want to play Ings. But he's probably going to be on the bench if Fullkrug's injured. So Antonio started and Ings on the bench. I think the real problem is the stuff around the striker. I don't even think it's a massive problem compared to the previous years that we've been supporting the club for. But the likes of Kudus up on the left with, listen, Paquetá dropped a bit of a stinker and hasn't really played that well this season so far. So you never know. He probably might be deserving of being dropped. However, my problem is Kudus on the left. You're never, ever going to get the best out of Mohamed Kudus on the left-hand side, because where does he occupy the spaces better? In the middle or the right? Because he can run at players more, and he doesn't just have to be direct. He comes in drifting off the left. You're not going to stop the guy when he's dribbling. His dribbling ability is insane. It's one of the best in the league outside of Man City. So you don't put him in a position where he can only use his left foot. And his weak foot isn't bad at all, but he's not going to use his right foot if he's playing on the left-hand side. He's not going to go in and cut in on his right. His natural finishing with his right foot compared to his left foot is incomparable in itself. Streets will never forget the Ings masterclass versus Sheffield. Yeah, he was so good against that in that game. Like, we should have won that game, but whatever. Ings back-to-back hat-tricks. Yeah, I heard he scored a hat-trick in a behind closed doors friendly against Dagenham and Redbridge, getting that morale up, doing the Football Manager tactic where you just go up against a lower league team to get that morale up. But I'm assuming that was to get players into shape that weren't playing international football. Keep them sharp, etc. Obviously, Fullkrug and Antonio both were on international duty, so it gave Danny Ings the chance to become another behind closed doors friendly merchant, and he's done that again. So, I mean, fair play to him. But I wouldn't start him because of that, for sure. So it is what it is. But I think the next step of this, we will get into the lineups. Just give me a sec, and we'll come up with the West Ham Fulham lineup that we want to start with. But yeah, that's just a few things out there. There's gonna be a few discussions. Do you guys have any unpopular opinions about who you might drop or who you might start? I'm willing to hear everything out, because listen, we played well last game, but we didn't win, which is the point. We didn't win the game, which is the main point of it. We need to have points on the board, because we've got no excuses. We can do all this, good performance, but you've got to put that into a result. And against Man City, there was a lot of context, but listen, I'm not too bothered, Wonder when Guilherme will get his chance. Really want to see him be given a go. I said this when we signed him. I think he's the guy who's an in advance replacement for either Paquetá or Kudus whenever one of them leaves, just because of the positions that he plays. Obviously, the guy is a left-footed coming off the either way. He can play across the front three behind the striker, which is the wingers and the number 10. I just think that we're preparing for when players leave, which is how we are structured now with Tim Steidten in charge. He goes and scouts a player, and then someone comes in when someone leaves, that we've already got. And then we get a replacement after that as well. So we've got players competing, a bit like how Brighton do it. Like when Trossard left, they already had Mitoma. So I would like to see Guilherme given a chance, at least in the cup games, if we're not going to take the Liverpool game fucking serious. But what's it called? But yeah, I want him to be given a chance. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. We could have loaned him, but I guess he wanted 2 players in each position, so we technically have 4 wingers. You've already put your lineup for check. Ariola, Arawa, Bissaka, Tadibo, Kilman, Emerson, because no one else is there. I know you don't like Emerson. Eddie, Souček, Soler, Kudus, Bone, Antonio. I don't like that midfield. That midfield, for me, I know Soler's there, but obviously I'm going to disagree with you about Souček. I wouldn't play him, but also playing... The problem is, if we're not going to play Paquetá in the midfield, I played Kudus in the 10, just because of creativity. I don't think we could just solely rely on Soler for creativity. I also don't think we signed Soler to have him as a Paquetá backup. I think we signed him as a third midfielder, but it is what it is. I also wouldn't play Kudus off the left, but I hear you. Areola, Aaron Bissaka, Tadibo, Kilman, Emerson, Alvarez, Soler, Kudus, Bowen, Paquetá, Summerville. Are you playing Bowen up front then? And then you win. Then we win. We win 6-5. Jesus Christ, that would give me a fucking heart attack. How does he not like Emerson? It's opinions, in it. Opinions. Is Areola fit? Yeah. The manager said that Areola has recovered well, so he should be fine. I think he probably played in the behind closed doors. No, actually, no. He would have been in France. He would have been in France on international duty. I don't think they would have sanctioned his international duty call up if they didn't think he was going to be fit enough. I just think he had a bit of a back problem, so they didn't want to risk having a goalkeeper against Manchester City with a back problem. So they subbed on Fabianski. So I expect him to start against Fulham. Paquetá false 9, Bowen right wing, Kudus 10, Soler 8. Oh, okay. Wait. Paquetá false 9, Bowen right, Kudus. Oh, yeah, Summerville off the left. Yeah, makes sense. Listen, I think Paquetá could be a good false 9 just because, what's it called? He's played there before, but I personally wouldn't play him there. I would just play one of the strikers that we have, like just regardless of the situation. But for me, it's also about giving the service to the strikers, playing to their strengths, and finishing our chances. I think that's the issues that we usually line ourselves up with. But I'm going to get into my starting 11. I'm going to get into mine. So let's get up, line up, build as we always do. 4-3-3 as always. Areola in goal. Sorry for the adverts that keep popping up on this. It's really annoying. But Areola in goal. Obviously, I'll be fine with Fabianski as a backup. I don't think that even needs to be said. But yeah, Areola in goal. I don't really get the criticism of him. And I think the back four speaks for itself. Aaron Wan-Bissaka at right back has played absolutely tremendous across the games that he's been playing. Been one of our best players, and we've been solid in defence and good in possession for a big reason. And he's one of the big reasons because of that. At right centre back, Tadibo needs to come in for Mavropanos. Listen, we need to play our best back four, and you'd like to assume that we signed this guy for him to be better than Mavropanos, so we need to give him a chance to prove himself, and hopefully he got that fitness. He got his fitness up in the behind closed doors friendly, and we need to get him used to the partnership alongside the left centre back in terms of Max Kilman, who in my opinion has been our best player so far. With Max Kilman, he's again been good in possession, been very strong, just marked people out of the game quite well. Don't even think most of the goals have been his fault so far. And I think he's actually helped us in possession quite a lot because this whole myth about Naya Faged being good in possession, this guy will give the ball away constantly by just kicking it long or taking too long on the ball. Max Kilman is a whole different level when it comes to playing on the ball and is a definition of a ball playing centre back. But not only is a ball playing centre back, it's just a decent defender. And also, one of my reservations on Max Kilman was always if he gets taken down the channel, he could get beat very easily. But my problem is, not my problem is, I think what we've done well is the way we're organised and the way the system is set up. We're nice and compact and we play in a back four so he doesn't get taken down the channel as much unless we're being caught on the counter, for example, and he has to cover for Emerson when going forward, etc. But listen, obviously Emerson at left back, apart from the mistake against Manchester City when he put Paquetá under pressure, I don't think he's been bad. I actually think he's gone quite under the radar the first few games. Edson Alvarez for me starts. Good to see him get a couple games, and hopefully the fact that he's had the advantage of staying with us and working on the training ground, which I'm glad Mexico, West Ham did all of that to allow him just to stay with us so we can work on a few things after coming back from a big injury. Well, not a big injury, but you know what I mean, that injury that hindered our start to the season. He adds a whole new dimension to the midfield, screening in between the centre backs, being that decent on the ball and distributing the ball quickly to our attackers. So he played well against City as well. Like the fact that we kept the ball against Manchester City said so much about the midfielders that were playing at the time. And that's no shot, but come on, do I even need to say it? Right centre mid, if he's fit, start him. If not, then start Rodriguez. Carlos Soler for me. I want to see him start. And that's just my opinion. But If he's fit, then start. If not, then just put Rodriguez and play the same pivot as last time. I want players that are comfortable in the ball to start on a football pitch, so we can play to everyone's strengths properly, and we can actually look somewhat cohesive as a team. I don't want to play Thomas Suchek. I want if we need Thomas Suchek, it means we need a goal, and you bring him off the bench for the last 20 minutes, or we need to see out a game. We need to put an extra body in midfield. You know, that someone who's gonna header every ball if the centre backs aren't going to head it, which I think Thomas Suchek will be good at seeing out a game and getting a goal to win us a game. I just think starting him in 90 minutes for me, in terms of being in the middle of the pitch, actually trying to pass the ball to his teammates, isn't good enough. And I've said that multiple times before. I'm not going to even go too in on him nowadays because, like, I've said everything that I need to say. And yes, I'm putting Kudus as the third midfielder. And yeah, you've seen that right. I'm putting Kudus in the middle. It's going to look more like a 6, 8, and a number 10 for this. I want Kudus in the middle because he's way more dangerous in the middle than he is off the left. Big up to Jojo as well. Subscribe, people, and share the stream with your friends. Big up to everyone that is here. And do make sure to subscribe if you are new and like the video if you haven't already. Big up to Jojo as well. I made you a mod. But yeah, unpopular opinion, I will be dropping Lucas Paquetá. Don't think now I'm going to put Lucas Paquetá in the front three because I'm not David Moyes. And he's not a left winger. My only thing is that I want that there's competition to be had here, and he's coming back from South America to trouble. But then again, so is Kudus from Africa, so it's just as bad, I guess, when it comes to like jet lag and all that. But also with the game that he played last time, I just think do something a bit different. See what we're like without him. I do think Paquetá is actually very key to this side, but I'm just saying for this one game, try it out and put Kudus in the middle with these two. And I think that'll be a good midfield. We'll be able to keep the ball and still create from attacking positions, especially being dangerous in the final third. I just think we've got enough creativity. On the left, free my boy Summerville. Free my boy Crescencio Summerville every time. Free him. Give him a chance. That's why it says free Summerville in the fucking title. Sub Paquetá at the half. You could do that. That's the thing. I'd put him on as a sub player and see how he kicks on as a sub player. But my problem is I think he's going to be one of them players that's going to be the manager's favourites. Listen, I love Paquetá, but I don't think he's like, oh, this guy's shit or whatever. He just pisses about too much at times in positions where he doesn't need to. Don't get me wrong though, when it comes to passing, he's the only one that can pass the way he does at our club. Like no other person can pass like him. But I just think Kudus will give you a whole different dimension in a number 10 with just him. And listen, ideally, I play Paquetá in Soler's position, but I've said that multiple times on this channel. I'm not going to go through that again. Up front, obviously, Fullkrug can't even play. I was about to put Fullkrug there. So Mikel Antonio, why is his name not coming up? Mikel Antonio. Fullkrug's not fit, so start Antonio for me. Ings is third choice in my opinion. And Jared Bowen on the right. I think Bowen does need to step up. Don't get me wrong. I expect a lot more from Jared Bowen throughout the season. He did score against Crystal Palace, but his general performance still wasn't good enough in my opinion. Just coming up against Aston Villa as well. Against Aston Villa, against Crystal Palace, and against Manchester City. Against Manchester City, he was just defended really well. I've also said about tactically as well, this guy cannot be the guy who's hugging a touchline whilst the wing back is going on the inside, making the third man runs and underlapping. I don't like Bowen on the touchline. Get him in the pockets and have them running at defenders where defenders don't even know where to step in or stay outside, you know? Give the fullback something to think about. Get Summerville Bowen in the pockets, get them cutting in, and get them shooting at Leno, peppering shots at Leno. However, if Bowen does keep playing the way he does, we've got other players as well. No one is safe in this team. And people will be like, but Bowen's one of the best players. He is one of the best players. But that's what I'm saying with Paquetá, with Kudus, could be Antonio, could be Summerville. It could be anyone. It could be anyone in this team. You shouldn't be like ahead of any sort of hierarchy in terms of getting dropped. If you play bad, then merit comes into play. Merit will always come into play. And merit should always come into play. I think when it comes to this team as well, we've got what the manager wanted, 2 players in each position. People would be like, but we've only got 3 centre-backs. They trust Casey to be the 4th choice centre-back. So there is no excuse. Obviously, Cresswell's useless when it comes to staying fit. But in terms of 2 players in each position, the manager has that. So the manager doesn't really have many excuses to not rotate the squad if something goes bad to plan. What is good about this manager is the fact that he likes to make substitutions a lot, which can be a good thing. Which could also be a bad thing as well. Just hopefully he doesn't make substitutions the same way he did against Aston Villa. Obviously, Ward-Prowse ain't here anymore, but he put on Ward-Prowse for Paquetá. He put on Summerville for Bone. Summerville did well when he came on, but just Bone would have been the one I would have taken off at the time. But he does like to make substitutions as well. 65 minutes should be fair when there's around the time he likes to make substitutions as well. So that is my team, people. If you haven't put your team in the comments already, make sure to put your starting 11 in and we'll talk about it. Him and Ings were doing well. Yep, they were. But that team should be good enough to beat Fulham. In fact, most starting 11s where it requires most of the first team players that we would start on a regular basis should be good enough to beat Fulham already. No matter what team Fulham put up against us, because we're meant to be better than Fulham, meant to be on paper. So prove that against people that are doubting you, even though a lot of people are going to put extra eyes on you as you've had such a great transfer window. Steindon has done his job. Ken Lopetegui and the team do his job. The players need to do their job. Need to be clinical. And need to be organised as we have been so far in defence as well. Simple as that. The football's a simple game. It's a simple game. We actually have a good record against Fulham outside of them beating us twice last season. So for me, it should be quite a simple game. It should be quite easy. It should be quite easy, but it's not going to be an easy game. Just because of we make it hard for ourselves. I just think if there's anyone that's going to be an enemy in this game, it's going to be us. We're going to make ourselves our own enemy. So whatever, innit? Whatever. But get your predictions in as well. Get your predictions and get your comments in as always. Your contribution will be put up on screen. And make sure to like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. But even with Fulham, like the key battles in the game is going to be the midfield battle, as it always is in most Premier League games. Because we've started to see that the best time where our midfield has shone has been the Man City game, where we competed very well with a Kovacic, Silva, De Bruyne midfield with Rodriguez, Alvarez, and Paquetá. Even though Paquetá wasn't his best, Alvarez and Rodriguez really stepped up to the plate. And listen, if Soled, obviously, if he isn't fit, then you play Rodriguez, in my opinion. And it still should be enough. Because Rodriguez has started quite well, in my opinion. I just think on the ball and off the ball, he's done good, man. He's done his job. And as I said, Alvarez is just so different. He's just so different. It's the leadership as well. He's a constant leader. That's why I said I'd make him my captain. In terms of being the vocal guy in the team. That has been Alvarez. And I've been very happy with him at the club, just in general. And now that the previous manager's gone, you'd like to think he's one of the key guys in the team. And this is one of the people we were talking about in the summer when we were talking about who should we build the team around. And he was one of them. He was one of the many players that we should build the team around. And we haven't been able to score, probably 1-0 win. That's the same result I've gone with. I've gone 1-0 win. I just think as well, we will defend well with anything they got us, with Adama Traore, Iwobi, and Smith Rowe coming at us. If we do our job, we can deal with them well, and especially with Rodrigo Muniz up front as well. I think Tadibo, Kilman, and even Mavropanos should be able to deal with that. And I just think it'll be whether we score. And I reckon maybe a Bone will pop up with a goal. It's just a matter of whether we score, rather whether we make a mistake at the back, which is a big difference to last year. Because we were going to score last year many a times. We just had a really bad defense, and it was the fact that we went 1-0 down so many times to kick us into gear and come back from many games to score. But then we would also not have any bottle in us to see out a game either because of the mentality. You like to think there's a different kind of mentality when it comes to seeing out a game. Like look at the Crystal Palace in general. Look at a Crystal Palace game in general where, we were 1-0 up and then we went to look for the second goal as well. That's the great part. We took our time. We were organised, got the ball, transition, bang. We got the transition West Ham back where we were good on the counter. Can see some dumb BS like late penalty too. That again, the way you're describing the game is going to give me a fucking heart attack, man, if that actually happens. But yeah, as I said, like we've got the transition West Ham back. We've got the players that are good enough at the counter. We've got the players that are good enough in possession. Have we got the players that are good enough that are going to get goals and assists on a consistent basis? I'm not too sure just yet. I'd like to think so with the likes of Kudus and Bowen and Paquetá. You'd like to think so. I think Paquetá needs to shoot a lot more as well. That's another problem that I really have with Paquetá is the fact that he doesn't shoot enough. He doesn't shoot enough at all. He's too selfless when it comes to being in the final third. The guy would just pass it for no reason. I think Kudus needs to be a bit more selfish as well because he's got a strike on him. He's got an absolute strike on him. So we need to see more shots from different areas and different angles where he can really test the keeper. Because there's been times where I've been like, you could have scored there. And hopefully we'll see Bowen get back to Bowen, like being the typical Jared Bowen that he is. Didn't play too much against. Didn't play too much for England, so that's probably a good thing for us because he's already match sharp as it is. He didn't play too much where he'd get injured, and he didn't play too little where he'd lose sharpness from the matches. So Bowen should be fine. He should be the one we make the least amount of excuses for when it comes to the internationals. I get for the likes of Rodriguez, Paquetá, and Kudus, and Antonio, they're coming from different continents, so it's a bit different. However, with the others, there is no excuses. How a whole back four hasn't been on international duty, and Edson Alvarez hasn't been on international duty. So them 5 should be fine for the game against Fulham. It should be fine. Obviously, we've got to deal with their dangers as well. They like using the wide areas quite a lot. Use the overlaps with Robinson, and I'm assuming it's going to be Castagna. If not, it's going to be Kenny Tete starting at right back for them. And they can play out from the back, but they like to take risks. They like to take risks and like playing through the middle. And that can easily become a turnover for West Ham. And if it does become a turnover, we can really take advantage of that. And I think we're really good at taking advantage of turnovers as well. So I'm kind of looking forward to that if we press right, especially if we press their midfield. I don't think they've got the best like midfield when it comes to like ball retention and getting out of high pressure situations as well. I'd like a little bit of revenge from last year as well after all that nonsense, after that 5-0 and that 2-1 where Iwobi and Calvin Bassey were rapping in the dressing room after, talking about bursting bubbles and stuff like that. I'd like a bit of revenge just because I'm petty like that. A bit of revenge, But that's me. That's me when talking about this game. Let's check out the update of the Fantasy Football League that we have as a community. Let's see who's doing well and who's doing poor. Not that I necessarily want to show this because I have been severely underperforming in the FPL league. Just give me a sec, guys. Where is the league? The GVO community. GVO Mike's community. I've managed to go lower than usual, but okay. Share my screen. So John is at the top, 231 points in the GVO Mike's community. Jonathan is there, Eric's there, Carol's there, William and Alexi are there. And if you keep scrolling down, this is where I am. I'm doing terrible in FPL. And yes, I will let people in a bit of a spoiler. I'm using my wild card for game week 4 because I cannot be going like this. I was trying to do the whole gimmick of, I won't include Haaland and Salah, and I'll share the money around. This is why I always lose in FPL. Always lose. I'm going to keep playing it because it's part of the community now, but every year, I just make the wrong decision. And I'm like, this year is going to be my year. A bit like when you get a New Year's resolution and you're like, or it's New Year's Day, and you're like, this year's my year. It's never your year. That's me with FPL. I've been struggling. So I cannot forward to this week because otherwise I'm going to be battling for last place in my own league. In my own league of like 25 people, or whatever it is, which is long for me. That's just long. I can't lie. It's just long for me. But I'm going to predict the other games as well. Give me a sec. What's the other games? Because there's a few good games this week. So let's get up the other games as well. Southampton Man United. 12:30 kickoff. Southampton Man United. I reckon Man United just edged out. I just think Southampton can't play out from the back, even though they will try to. Or turn over, Man United will score, and Southampton will pepper their goal and not finish a chance. Brighton Ipswich. I don't think Brighton look as good as the league table says. I think their defense could be got at. However, Ipswich are going to score that many goals. They're not necessarily terrible in defense either, but they're probably too risky for a promoted side at this current moment in time. So I'll go 1-1 with that. Crystal Palace Leicester. Neither team have won. Long may it continue that Crystal Palace don't win a game. I also think that game will be 1-1, just because with Crystal Palace, Leicester, it's going to be tough to call. I don't think either of them are great at finishing their chances. I don't think either of them are, well, I don't think Leicester's great in defence. Who do you hope gets relegated, bro? I'm assuming you meant Southampton. Fulham West Ham, I said 1-0. We'll edge it. I think we'll edge it. I think, as I said, they ain't got that much attacking threat, in my opinion. Smith Rowe aside. Liverpool, Nottingham Forest. Liverpool will comfortably beat them. They'll control the game. They'll pass it around. Forest won't get the ball. And Liverpool will get early 2 goals, then just keep the ball. Because that's what they do under Arnie Slot. Yeah, Southampton, I hear you. I don't really like Southampton. I actually put my neck out on the line and said they'd actually survive. However, that doesn't look like it's going to be the case for them. So we'll see how that happens. Liverpool for Man City, Brentford. Same with Man City, Brentford. Man City will just control the game and do their thing, man. They'll do their thing. I think they'll win 2-0. I don't think Brentford are going to score. Wouldn't be surprised if they do, though. Aston Villa, Everton. Everton are shit. Everton are shit. Nothing's going to change. The fact that an international break has happened, they come back. They're not going to look like a whole new team. We saw what Everton are going to be like summed up pretty much in the Bournemouth game where they let a 2-0 lead go to 3-2 in that period of time. Like, just what the fuck are they doing? So Aston Villa will win 2-0. Bournemouth, Chelsea, 1-1. I think Chelsea might slip, but Bournemouth away is quite a hard game to go by. I just think Chelsea are not clinical enough. Their defense is slightly improving, but it can still be got at. Same with Bournemouth, though. Bournemouth haven't been great when it comes to scoring goals. I know they scored against Everton, but I just think they capitalised on an opportunity where Everton were crumbling, Tottenham Arsenal, that's the big game of the week. I hope both teams lose somehow, some way, I don't like either team. But with that game, despite Arsenal's faults, they'll still beat Tottenham because Tottenham haven't been great. And just because you beat Everton, that doesn't say anything about you. We saw the way Bournemouth dealt with Everton. Beating Everton means nothing. They just give you space. So I think 2-1 Arsenal probably. I think both teams will score, but this is the thing as well. This is what I'm thinking as well. Like, if Tottenham lose 3 times in a row at their ground, then it'll get toxic there. And they've just lost to Newcastle, coming back, and they'll lose to Arsenal. That's terrible. If Arsenal lose to Tottenham, that's a big stamp on their title race already. Like 4 games in, and we're talking about Arsenal's title race being, stamped on. And listen, it's going to be a hard week for them. Arsenal have got Tottenham, Atalanta, and Manchester City, so it's going to be very interesting. So we'll see what happens there as well. And Wolves Newcastle, probably going to be the most boring game of the week. Wolves fans chatted a bag of shit before the season started with their whole pre-season campaign. However, since they bragged about getting money for Max Kilman, they haven't been able to replace him. So I don't really get what Wolves fans were chatting about. Wolves could even finish above West Ham. They've got Lopetegui, and we gave them Max Kilman. Little do they know, Max Kilman isn't going to play well for them and all this. You haven't even replaced him, bro. You haven't even replaced him. Look at your defense. You worked on 4 at the back throughout the whole pre-season, and then all of a sudden you lose against Chelsea 5-something because you cannot play 4 at the back, and then you go to Nottingham Forest and play 3 at the back because you're scared of conceding goals. Gary O'Neill will be under pressure, and don't be surprised if he gets sacked in this season because he's heavily overrated, and he was heavily overrated in the past 2 seasons they were there. Okay, and Newcastle as well. Newcastle, and again, Eddie Howe, what are you doing half the time? Like, Lloyd Kelly with Dan Burn in the same defence. Like, that's so weird. Dan Burn is terrible. He's got Lewis Hall as a left back, then he can play Kelly centre back, but he decides to play Kelly left back and Burn centre back. He's bonkers in the head. He's actually just broken. His brain is just broken in the head. Yeah, same with Palace as well. This is the thing with Crystal Palace as well. They've been trying to bag of shit. They haven't won a game yet. And then they're going to come up against Leicester, where they still haven't won a game, and the pressure is on them to win a game. And you never know, Jordan Ayew's coming back to his former club to maybe dunk on them in their own ground. But If they should be winning that game, if they're really the club that even what I've said they were said they would be. I still think they're building something good, but it's where have they got their arrogance from? Where have they got their arrogance from? I would love to know because people say that about us. We're not as bad as them, and they've done nothing in football. Done nothing in the top tiers of football. They've done fuck all, and they're talking like the way they talk. Like, get out of it, man. But we've gone through the starting lineup. We've gone through the press conference. We've gone through FPL. Any questions that you'd like to ask in the comments, feel free to put it in the comments as well. But yeah, like in terms of the game as well, like I'm gonna feel nervous about any game that we have because I'm just naturally a pessimist, like when it comes to football. But I just think if we can play the right players, we can approach the game well because we approach the game tactically very well in a Man City game. I just think Haaland's a freak, and we let him run in behind for the third goal. You cannot let players that are putting through balls like that of that quality under no pressure. I think it was either Gundogan or Mateus Nunes who got the assist for the third Haaland goal. You cannot let players like that of that ilk putting the ball in behind like that and not give them any sort of pressure. But that was also because of a mistake that Mavropanos made, coming out with the ball and then dribbling with the ball and taking way too long on the ball. That was my problem with it, is that you're meant to be a ball-playing centre-back, but you're taking way too long with the ball, and every time you get it, it gets given away. That's why I said Mavropanos is a squad player, because you never know what you get with him. Comes in, has a good game, and then the next game has a disaster class. So hopefully we see Todibo. I think Todibo has all the fundamentals as well. That's my thing as well. I think Todibo has all the fundamentals. Like he will be calm on the ball when he gets used to the Premier League, and I think people are going to say he's too nonchalant or whatever, but I think that's how ball playing centre backs are, and we'll be able to keep the ball in defence a bit better as well compared to how we do with Mavropanos. Emerson Hospital pass, Haaland not marked, Mavropanos open space. The thing is with that turnover, I don't even blame Mavropanos for that turnover, but with Emerson, he just put him under pressure. Like, you got to move quick when it comes to defending like that. And with Haaland, like, he's a different beast. Like, first goal was Emerson's fault for me. Second goal was just them doing a good move, and the third goal was Mavropanos' fault. So, I obviously, none of us are taking that game to heart because we at least seen a very encouraging performance. We had quite a few chances. So we actually put good moves together as well. And part of me is like, I've got ever so much excitement when coming to watch West Ham now, when it comes to like games going forward, just because of how much more we are comfortable in possession, how much we've improved since last season. It's just, as I've repeated throughout the theme of this video, it's just a matter of putting chances away and just being clinical. That's my thing with it. Because I watch us play out from the back and I'm like, like against Man City anyway, I'm like, okay, you're playing all the right players. Everyone's comfortable. Wan-Bissaka is being calm with the ball and finding 1-2s, and Rodriguez and Alvarez are setting the play well, setting the tempo well. Paquetá's there to create. We've got wingers that can run at defenders. Even though I don't like Kudus on the left, he will still give you like a hell of a game. He'll give you like a horrible game if you're a defender 1v1. Even if he can only go around the outside, because even if you think you know where he's going, you won't be able to stop him. And that's what says a lot about the best wingers that play in the world and the Premier League in general, is that you cannot beat them even if you know where they're going. That's why Jared Bowen is what Jared Bowen is, because even though he's going onto his left foot, he's always capable of scoring a goal. That's the thing with him. So, is what it is. But overall, we'll squeeze over the line. I will be disappointed if it's a draw, though. I will be disappointed if we don't win in general. I don't want to get turned over. We did well in our other away game against Crystal Palace. Even if we don't start well, we don't give up. We don't give up. We're always still trying to find the chances at the end of the game, even though we may be losing or when we haven't played to our best or whatever. But that's my thing. We don't give up as well, which is a good mentality to have compared to last season. Because last season, yes, we were still pushing to take a last-minute winner to the game, to the last couple games. But my thing is with that is we were like, okay, we'll play football now, and it'll be like the last 10 minutes of the game. That's the difference. The difference now is we play the same way, we keep the same principles, but we still push on and we up the intensity. We may leave ourselves a bit open at times, which we may concede quite a few last minute winners when it comes to playing against opponents and might be a bit too careless with the ball, etc. But we've got dangerous players in the 90th minute. Like if you need Suchek to come on, you could come on and score a goal. We just wouldn't start him. I reckon Fullkrug and Antonio will still contribute to last minute winners. Same with Bowen, same with Kudus. Kudus' concentration within the game is A1 in itself. Like he doesn't lose concentration throughout the whole game. The guy's just focused on one thing, and that's winning. And he is an entertainer as well. He just likes having fun on the pitch and still having that mentality to win, which is a good balance of, the entertainment factor and just doing your job as a football player. So I'm happy overall, but we need to just put performances into results. We cannot carry on with, that was a good performance. We didn't carry on with, and then we didn't translate that into a result because we have nothing to show for it. Then we have nothing to show for it. We've got tough games coming up. Listen, we've got Liverpool midweek. We've got Chelsea as well next week as well. So we'll see. Will you do Champions League watch-alongs? You know what? I don't know. I still haven't decided. But I think to get the numbers up, and I think to be consistent on streams, I might do. I think it also depends on the game as well. Let me check out hold on. I can do this on here, actually. Champions League fixtures. Give me a sec. Because I'll have my match reaction on Saturday. I don't think I'll have stream Sunday. We'll have the GVO. Pardon me, the GVO show Monday, and then Champions League is midweek. But then again, I'll have nothing else to upload in midweek, so I probably will be doing that. Let's have a look at the fixtures now. Let me bring the fixtures up. Okay, Juventus PSV. These are the early games. Juventus PSV and Young Boys Aston Villa are the early games. Real Madrid Stuttgart. Okay, not on Tuesday then. Because none of those. I think Real Madrid Stuttgart is probably the most interesting game, don't get me wrong. But I want to do a watch along for that. AC Milan Liverpool is kind of interesting. So maybe that's the most interesting game. Okay, if I was going to do a watch along, I might do a watch along for this. If we look at Wednesday. Bologna Shakhtar. PSG Girona is a good game. Man City Inter is a good game. Atalanta Arsenal's on Thursday. What the fuck? I forgot Thursday also have Champions League games, which is weird, man. So very weird indeed. But did Thursday have early games as well? They do. Leverkusen Feyenoord. That's pretty much a Thursday night game in itself. There's a lot of football on. To be fair, I'm not necessarily complaining. Monaco, Barcelona. Okay, so if I'm gonna do Champions League watch-alongs, it'll be on Wednesday or Thursday, and I think I'll do one for the Arsenal game. I think Liverpool Milan's maybe Wednesday. I don't know. So we'll see. I kind of just sometimes I just want to watch football without watch-alongs. But then again, I don't even do watch-alongs that much anymore. I know I gave a lot last season, but we'll see. We might. When do we play Liverpool? That's a good question. When do we play Liverpool? Because that's the thing. Why is it? I think our game is set in the midweek. Hold on. I've just closed my tab, so I'm gonna have to do this on my phone. Liverpool fixtures. We play them on the 25th. So we don't play them obviously this week because Champions League. So we play them in the next week. We play them on the 25th of September. So that's Wednesday. So we'll play them after the Chelsea game. Well, away from home, of course. That's gonna be long. Anfield's just gonna be long, man. I can't be asked for Anfield. But we need to again with that game, we need to approach the game like it's a normal game. We can't. What we do every year is we let the stature of Anfield affect us, affect our mentality in terms of our approach, and we crumble. So whatever. But I'm going to end it there, people. I'm going to end it there. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. Make sure to like the video, subscribe if you are new. The social medias are in the description if you want to follow me. And email for any inquiries, GVO Mikes at Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. We are on the road to 1K subscribers. So if you ain't subscribed, subscribe if you're new. And if you're already subscribed, share it to someone else. I'll see you guys later.